I'm just like, golly, if you want to work on something, either come back at dark or
Yeah.
come back before.
You gotta turn your phones off, and you gotta, the other day, my wife, being into the jujitsu and stuff, and she likes to have the music on back there, and and she'll be like, you could work, out here, and I'm like, no, I can't.
No.
And she's like, no, I won't do my music or anything like that, and I'm like, you don't understand. If I sit out here, I start to relax, and if the TV or something else is on, my mind will wander, and the next thing I know, I find myself watching videos instead of doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't want to do that. So
Yeah.
no, I got to go in the back, and I got to be able to be focused and
Yep.
that kind of thing. And I think I think it'll actually be a good segue even into what we're talking about tonight,
Mhm.
because you've got to stay focused, right? And that's what the part of it is. So
Right.
anyhow, hey there, hi there, ho there, out in spray wash land. Again, Ray and I get to just chit chatting sometimes, and pre-show getting ready and all that kind of fun stuff. And that's what happens. So anyhow, um, tonight we're going to talk about making $300 an hour pressure washing. Is it a myth? Is it? It is a myth, and it isn't a myth. You can happen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we don't have anything structured here this week. We're gonna wing it, and we're gonna go over it, and we're gonna talk.
Well, and one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about, because this is something that unfortunately I deal with multiple times a week,
The
where
same
guys
question.
where guys are coming in and they show up at my sales counter, or I get the phone call, and unfortunately they're and I don't mean any negative about this equipment, but they're dragging a pressure washer that they've bought through an Amazon link through somebody's courses. It's typically a AAA type pump, and they're saying, okay, well, how do I make this $300 an hour? These guys that I watch, online are telling me that I'm going to make $300 an hour, and I think it's very, very sad. It's really sad to me that becomes, and sometimes they say, well, $200 an hour. Sometimes it's 250, but I have a real simple exercise that I like to do with them. And I'm like, okay, you're going to make $300 an hour. This is what you've been told that you can make, right? Yes. I mean, I've heard it over and over and over again. I said, okay, so let's say that, you're going to make $300 an hour. And I try to really keep it, simple for my benefit here. You're going to work five, because let's face it, nobody ever can work 8 hours in a day. I mean, getting paid for that. You're going to drive from a job to a job. You're going to do a couple of jobs. You're probably going to have to, answer some phone calls and stuff. So let's say you get five hours a day working at that. What kind of money is that? Well, man, I mean, that's 300 times five. That's going to be $1,500 a day, right? Yeah, absolutely. I said, you know what? And let's face it, let's just be totally honest. You're not going to be able to cut, 5 days a week. We're going to have rain. We're going to have, there's going to be bad weather. You're going to have to go out and do estimates. You're going to have to run and take care of stuff, right? I said, so it's just unrealistic to think you're going to be able to plug away 5 days a week. So let's do four. Let's do 4 days a week at $1,500 an hour, $1,500 a day. So what does that come out to? Well, I mean, that's $6,000. That's going to be $6,000 a week. And I was like, yeah. So, and if you're making $6,000 a week, you, my friend, need a baller vacation.
Absolutely.
You really do. I mean, you're going to want to go to the Caribbean, put your feet up, so banish the thought of working 52 weeks a year. You're only going to work 50 weeks a year, right? Yeah. That sounds good, right? Yeah. I think I deserve a good vacation. I was like, so at 50 weeks a year times $6,000 a week, what does that come up to? And all of a sudden, I mean, their eyes are getting big, like, I'm going to make $300,000 a year because that's what $6,000 a week times 50 weeks a year is. And I'm like, I don't know. You tell me, why are you in here talking to me, asking me how you're going to do this? Because if it was that easy, seriously, I mean, at some point, do you not think maybe you've either bought a bill, you've been sold a bill of goods, or you've bought a bill of goods, or something maybe is not adding up? Because you're telling me that the man that told you to follow this Amazon link because this is the pressure washer he started with, and even though his company's never generated $300,000 a year in income, he's telling you you're going to make $300,000 a year if you follow his advice and listen to his YouTube and maybe buy his class over here. You're going to make $300,000 a year with this pull around Simpson AAA pump pressure washer.
Can you, when this is over with, can you send me that link? Because I could use 300 out there. I really could. I need a job. I mean, so send me that link, and
then most of them finally start to go, oh yeah, and let's face it. And I don't mean any disrespect to what any of us do, but whenever it comes to the basic residential, I mean, we put our red tape on, we keep our plants watered, we understand the stuff, but the actual washing part of it is not that hard. We can master that. I mean, we can have our technicians master that. We can take care of all that. But the what you need now is to figure out a business plan after you've washed your mom's house, your brother-in-law's place, and your former boss's house. I mean, because you've knocked out your first 3 customers, and now you're just scratching your head going, what's next out there? Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and face it, and let's just be real honest that for the new guy, and there's plenty of the established people that are consistently doing the $300 an hour, but let's just go ahead and let's have the assumption that you're probably not going to do consistently multiple hours a day whenever you're starting out $300 or even $250 an hour there. Not for multiple hours a day. I remember at Spray Wash when we were first doing these videos 10 years ago, Doug, where we went, 8 years ago or so. And we'd sit here and we'd say, you get the Facebook, you get the Facebook heroes that are out there going, oh yeah, man, I made the $250 an hour today. And it's like, okay, did you really? Because I know what you did. You told me, you bragged about it. You put the pictures on. So you're either, did you consistently make $250 an hour, or did you make $200 an hour for 3 hours that day and then make $0 an hour for the other 4 hours in a work shift?
A lot of times when we talk about this too, we talk about, how much a truck should be able to go out and make per day. And, the average of what I hear, honestly, out there is somewhere between $1,250 and maybe about $1,700 a day for that truck to go out, right? Mm-hmm. But what they're not taking into consideration, and I think part of this and why I'm saying that is that sometimes a lot of these guys are reading this stuff and they're, man, oh yeah, these guys are going out and they're $1,500 a day, or they're, $1,800 a day for their truck to roll out. Man, all I need to do is get 2 trucks at $1,500 a day. Man, I'm rolling $3,000 a day. But they're not looking at any of the aspects that go with that in these, I want to say larger companies, and these might be 1 truck companies, 2 truck companies, but that's because the owner actually knows the truck has to make $1,250 a day bare minimum, or $1,500 a day, just to make a good livable profit.
Right. Well, and Doug, whenever we're talking about, and let's face it, you and I have both been here with larger companies and multiple trucks. I guarantee you there were plenty of days out there in the slower times, middle of the summer doldrums, kicking your butt. And you're right, a truck could do between $1,200, $1,800 a day. No reason it can't, but I'm real happy that I had trucks rolling out there bringing me back $750 a day.
Yeah.
I was absolutely thrilled in July and August. Now, I would conversely, whenever it was March, April, May, I was really unhappy if those trucks weren't bringing me back $1,500, maybe even $2,000 a day in high season. In October, November, $1,500, $2,000 a day on the trucks. But it all averages out, and you'd be really, again, not saying it couldn't be done,
Right.
but there are plenty of multi-truck companies that are going to have full crew, have a problem with full crews running at full profitability in the middle of July and August.
Right. And that's the other thing that you got. Well, first, let me back up. Scott, nice to see you. And your name is actually showing up. That's awesome.
Hey.
Normally Scott's name doesn't show up, but that's the other side of it. That I mean, some of these guys, when you educate them, they need to understand that this is, depending on what area you live in. Like even here in Louisiana, I mean, we run all year, but we're not going to have the profits all year long. We have to do certain things just to keep our guys busy, just to keep dollars rolling in. We may break even. We may even lose some money this week or that week, whatever the case may be, just to keep things healthy within the company,
right,
keeping everybody going. It's not full on all the time. We can't do that all the time because there are those slow times.
Absolutely. And I mean, and it's sad in this position. I mean, I have, it really is heartbreaking to me because I'm now hearing a different side of people, and I feel bad. And I'm hearing the guys go, well, I don't know what to do. I'm out of money. I no longer, I've spent all my money on Facebook. I've spent all my money on Google ads. I've spent all my money on what these people have told me is going to work for me, and it hasn't worked for me.
Right.
Which is really, really sad because I really wonder if it's worked for the experts, what they're saying. Oh yeah, if you do this, because I seriously doubt that it has worked for them. And remember, hell, just what was it 3 years ago, Doug? Because I mean, I still had Spray Wash laughing. I mean, there's a guy out there who he kind of moved away from Facebook, and now he has a big YouTube thing. He was literally selling wooden skids. He had
remember that.
Remember him? He was selling, you don't see his name around Facebook that much. And the dude who was building the wooden skids for him, he put it on wheels, and he even said, well, yeah, so this is the deal, though. You're going to unload it out of your truck, and it'll, it had big wheels on it. And so you're going to pull it around the house, and don't put water in until you get it out onto the driveway. Then you put water and the bleach in it. And it's like, dude, you were totally missing the idea of a skid.
Yeah. Not only that, but just even the I remember the caster style wheels that were on that thing. I mean, you put that in the grass, dude, you ain't going nowhere.
You're not moving at all. But I mean, to me, that's the part of and that one group that he ran, I hate to say it, the idiocy, not idiocy, I don't mean to, but the newbie level in there was so high that nobody ever questioned them about, wait a minute, I take a skid out of my truck and then I fill it up with bleach and chemical. And when I'm done, I empty it out and I put it back in the truck.
Yeah, you just dump that sauce right there.
And this is one of these guys who's sitting there telling you, yeah, you're going to make $300 an hour consistently. So you got to really vet and question what these guys are telling you out there. And that's
the group that we were kicked out of for giving advice.
Yeah, I was being kicked out of pretty much all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was we got booted because we're like that's really, really bad advice. That's not even bad advice. That's like really bad advice.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm the admin.
Advice.
That's just I remember that. That is funny.
you know, you know, Jim Bob's talking about he. I don't know if you posted that or not, but you need $800 at his truck.
Yeah.
His truck needs $800 a day to break even. Jim Bob's got it figured out because you need to know what your numbers are to actually break even on there. And if you don't know what they are, you can be, if it's taking you $1,200 a day to break even, well, buddy, if you're only making, you know,
I'm reading the comments. I'm sorry. There's one that just popped up. They got me. Some
Yeah.
bald-headed dude said something.
Oh, that's hilarious. If you only knew, buddy.
Yeah. So, you know what Scott's saying though is, I mean, this is something like I've had people ask me about, well, how do I get out there without, you know, spending any money and all that kind of thing? I mean, networking. It's a, you know, the grind of networking, going out and networking with just local business owners. And, you know, there's BNI things that you can go, there's all kinds of stuff, realtors, though you know, some people say you can't make money with realtors, and there are a lot of realtors. You got to know which ones to go to, how to
just,
go to.
Just not all of them, but you know.
So, you know, going out there and actually doing the grind and networking can make you a lot of money and actually do it fairly quickly. I lost my place on the comments here. I'm gonna go back up.
I mean, I think even, I mean, if somebody wants to know our, you know, one of the best things in the world you could ever do is, where's that thing about the realtor thing at?
Which one?
The realtor download that we have.
Oh, that's I'd have to post a link. I'll have to go get it.
Yeah, if you don't mind, get that link. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty poignant thing about dealing with realtors over on Spray Wash Pro. I'd love to be able to sign up, and you know, it's free. It's a free link. I mean, but you know, we ought to post it in there, you know, and talk about it. But you know, and I see so many good friends on good friends on here today. You know, people we've known, and guys. So really, this is going to be saw on the broadcast from so many people, because most people here that are watching get it. They understand about this, but please, on the rebroadcast listeners, the late joiners, guys, everything you hear out there on internet land is not necessarily true, y'all. And I'll bet you a lot of these guys who are talking about the size of their companies, who are now also selling success packages, I have a feeling if you ever pulled up the old P&L out there, their P&L would be much different than what, you know, it actually is. That's why in some of our old, you know, you can go back and see this, Doug, where I used to put the P&L for Spray Wash up there. Whenever we had hit that $1 million a year, I wanted to say, look, guys, here's what $1 million a year company looks like. And, you know, and I went through it and, you know, did that one night on one of these where we looked at the, you know, look, there's QuickBooks, $1 million. And holy cow, there's $345,000 in salaries out there as well. I mean, you know, there's lots of things that go into that. Oh, wow. There's $80,000 in bleach.
You know, when you start looking at some of these things too, the cost of just insurance and you know, payroll, labor, and all of that, these things add up so super quick. Yeah. And you know, when I remember the first time I found out that my payroll was $6,000 a week. Yeah. And I'm like, what? I didn't realize, you know, it'll creep up on you fairly quick. But when you start looking at that, and even way before that, right, I was never making that $200 an hour or $250 an hour consistently. That was with everything I do, right? I might have consistently made $250 an hour when you look at, you know, as I grew and things happened. But when you're out, and you've got to think about, when I'm out running estimates, when I'm out. Now, I do view those things a little bit differently. And what I mean by that is that, like, I had an office person say, you know, as I was getting ready to hire them, I know you look at me as non-income producing, you know, staff. And I'm like, actually, I don't. I look at you as income producing because you're the front line kind of a thing, and you're answering the phones and doing all the stuff. So going out and doing estimates, I mean, you know, I remember the first time I went out and I called my wife and I'm like, I sold $7,000 today, you know. kind of a thing. But at the same time, I'm not making actual dollars at that time. And that's something that you've got to think about. All the things that you're doing, are you making money? And that's where eventually replacing yourself and me having to sit there and answer all the phones wasn't a smart thing to do. I was losing money.
Right.
Me answering the phones. I was worth more than answering the phones.
Yeah, sometimes you have to realize and know what your worth is and what your, I mean, I can justify a lot of times that, I used to enjoy fixing hoses and turning wrenches on the equipment whenever, the problems came in. Well, that would have put me at one of the highest paid mechanics in the pressure washing industry there was, and probably the worst use of my time possible. Now, I could also say that if my guys had to leave a job because of an issue, couldn't finish it, they needed me to come fix it real quick, then yeah, 100%, I was needed at that point. That was a money-making business. I want to go back right here real quick, Doug. I'm sorry. That organic, great example right here. I got it right here. Organic marketing is a key, 100%. And like Scott also said, the grinding, it's a little bit of everywhere. It's a little bit of everything is what's going to work out for you. Because let's face it, you're probably not going to outspend some of the larger companies in your market on the Google rankings out there. You're probably, I had a guy that was complaining the other day about his Google rankings I just don't know what to do. And I went to a backlink checker and I showed him, and I went to to a backlink checker and I checked Spray Wash, and I was like, look, the Spray Wash, URL is still up. It's now owned by the people that bought my company. But, if you go and check the backlinks on there, I've got 14 years of backlinks on there where I went to discussion boards. I know you had gone to some of those same discussion boards that really helped, and other discussion boards that I knew of. And you had, I want to say there was like 14,000 backlinks referring back to Spray Wash, which all helped on there.
I think that's another thing that actually helped us, though. I mean, we did a lot of those backlinks that just they're not the same nowadays. They're not as available.
They're not.
They are. They're called blogs and that kind of thing. But the old forums and stuff actually have really good juice to them.
Yeah.
And, so you could post in those and different things and you would get, but it's the same thing with using YouTube videos and all that.
Right.
Doing the YouTube videos, but you can't just do a video, right?
Right.
Google doesn't necessarily see what's in that video. You have to do your tags, your alt tags, and all these other things to help it it do that.
To make it relevant to you. Well, this guy, he had 12,000 backlinks out there. And I was like, okay, well, let me start looking because it lists out the backlinks. And he's like, yeah, I paid this company to do these backlinks. And they were all like, KrishnaNet.minihensavishnu.com was the referring, link on there. And I'm like, dude, you have literally just I don't know if you'll ever get good quality rankings on here because you've got 12,000 horse crap backlinks on there. And I'm not the Google expert of the world, but they weren't good quality links on there.
Right,
so don't pay people to go and do the,
Well, you can pay people to do the backlinks for you.
Well, they better be good.
That's all part of the whole.
They better be relevant, relevant, not minihandsofvishnu.net. No, that's not the no. So let's see.
You need to have
show your
first
work.
of all, relevant links, but secondly, somebody that so first of all, if you ask me to write a backlink on heart surgery, okay, I'm probably not the best person for that. Could I do it? Could I do a little bit of online research and do that? Yeah, but the odds are I'm going to end up plagiarizing. I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to do this. You can really hurt your business, not help your business doing those sorts of things. There's one in here that I wanted to put up, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, I wanted to talk about this with the You also have to show your worth to make it worth that. CRM's company cam before and after proposal, that all earns you more. 100%. And we've said this for years. There's a place in the market for everybody. And if you want to be the $99 guy,
go for it.
That's yours. And I know plenty of $99 guys that are actually relatively financially successful. Yeah. It's their market. It's where they're at in the market space, and they're able to do it. Remember, it's why whenever you go to cars, you have Mercedes and you have Kias. You literally have everything in the marketplace. Now, where you wind up having problems is whenever you're a Mercedes and you're charging Kia prices, or whenever you're a Kia and you start charging Mercedes prices. I mean, now, you can't expect to get the high prices and not deliver the commitment to excellence. And if you consistently deliver the crazy commitment to excellence and not charge for it, then you're going to be going bankrupt. You may not realize it yet, but you're going to commit financial suicide there.
And that falls right into this comment here, which, and I don't know who this is. I wish I did. But the numbers don't care about your feelings, right? You can lie to yourself and others, but the numbers will never lie. And that's what's going to dictate your business. And if you're not, look, if you go out and you do a job and that job is $1,000 and it takes that day, you still need to be able to track what it is that you did to get that $1,000, how your fuel expenses, your labor expense, all of the different things to find out what you actually made that day. And sometimes you might find out you didn't make anything. You're like, oh man, hey, I remember somebody telling me about, oh man, I had to go over to, whatever, I'll just throw Lafayette out there and do this job. But man, they paid me $1,000 to go over there. We stayed in a hotel that night, booked back the next day. Man, it was awesome.
Right.
Like, okay, how much did you make? You said you drove like 2 hours away, right there. And then you did the job, you stayed the night, which meant you paid food, all that kind of stuff. And then you ended up driving back. So that's 4 hours on the road that you could have spent doing something. Well, you didn't make that $1,000 you think you made.
Right. You walked out of there with $250, $300, And this is important for people to understand. Guys, whenever you've got expenses, They're coming in every day. Your insurance, if you're renting a shop, if you've got somebody answering the phone, if you have company cam, if you have
great product to have.
Yeah, if you have the pink collars or whoever, whatever answering service you're using, guys, the more quality we get and the more the bigger we grow, we have. I mean, this isn't like, well, at least the guys aren't going out today, so I don't have any expenses. Yeah.
You also don't have any income. I love this comment by Stephen. I think the new guys, I can make $300 an hour gurus, kind of thing, are using the extensive heat warnings as an excuse not to work. Booyah.
Yeah. Steve and I talk about it, all the time. Jim Bob, and you bring up something real good right there. Local library called for a roof and siding wash. They don't have any money, so we'll be donating a roof and siding wash to them for the good karma. Absolutely. And that can go so far, especially when we put a blog post about it. We document it on Facebook. And this is some of the things that, guys, whenever you're slow, I mean, maybe you need to get out there and do some give back to the community. New guys, I wouldn't be out there. I always hear this, and I think I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'll go on the records. I think it's absolutely horrible idea to do this. But I hear guys talking about, well, I'm going to go into a neighborhood and wash a house for free, so I can put my sign up there. Don't. My personal thoughts on it. But
yeah, I agree.
I also, I'm going to get so much business because, they're going to see my sign right there. No, you're not. You really probably are not, But
if anything, what you're going to do is you're going to create harm to yourself. And the reason I say that is that this homeowner is going to tell the other homeowners, oh, he did it for free.
Yeah.
Right. If it's in a niche, nice, neighborhood where they all communicate to each other, especially with Facebook and the groups nowadays, I can tell you my neighborhood that I'm in has its own little neighborhood Facebook group. I've got another property and it has its own little Facebook neighborhood group. all of those groups will start communicating. Oh yeah, I got my house washed by, this XYZ company, and they did it for free to try to get the photographs, the advertising, and what. They know you're hungry for business. That's why I'm against it.
Right. Well, but then again, you could take that same free service that you gave to this one house, and you could donate it to a needy church. You could donate it to a daycare.
A family. You can do a house, but what if it's for somebody whose child has cancer? What if it's somebody whose husband has ALS? Those are different reasons than just getting them to get pictures. I want to go back to that, to what Jim Bob had said. And that doing that thing for the library, which I think is a great thing to do. But Jim, did you ask them for anything in return? And what I mean by that is and a lot of times they can't do anything, but sometimes they will. And what I mean is they've got a bulletin board. They have newsletters that they send out. They've got all kinds of stuff where they don't have to promote you, but they can say, oh, we got our building washed, thanks to South County Soft Wash, whatever. They can do those sorts of things that help promote you without breaking their rules, if you would. So if you guys do something like that, always ask if there's any way that they can. I understand you're doing it for a good purpose and all that. And I think that that's the reason for it. But at the same time, why not turn that into something really good for the community and for your company as well?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, we used to go and do the veterans, or not the veterans cemetery. We charged for that, but there was a veterans section, an old veterans section in one of our city cemeteries, and nobody maintained it. And I called the cemetery manager up and said, hey, I'd like to do this. We don't have a budget for that. No, I'm going to do this, gratis. And literally when we were over on that side of town and we had like an hour or two to spare, we'd go out and we'd wash 30, 40 veterans tombstones out there. And, it would find its way onto the Facebook page, but never asked for anything in return. And it resulted in jobs for us. It resulted in some great publicity for us. Scott saying, I did 0 online marketing in our 3-year wash career, did 8 million, sold it. You don't need the online stuff, and I agree. But if you do go to the online stuff, it's the free online stuff that's really going to help catapult you, because as I said earlier, it is going to be really tough to buy an online presence to compete with the already existing online presences that are out there, and even some of the major companies that are out there. I know budgets of $3,000, $5,000 a month on online Google ads and links and stuff.
And way more than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's the ones I personally know of. It's going to be real tough to compete against that, Doug, for anybody.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes we'll talk to somebody and they say, well, I've got a budget of, $150 a month. I've got a budget of $1,500 a month. And then, you have the people that are, they're spending 15 grand in a month, and what they're trying to turn in dollars is amazing. That it's out there. It takes time to get there. And again, all of the link juice and all the things that you can do to make that happen. But again, part of it is just getting out there and doing the good quality work, building that solid foundation that's going to help you. A lot of guys are sitting there and they're trying to, like you're saying, with the whole, I'm pointing in the wrong direction already. See, with what you're saying, the whole thing where they come in and they say, hey, we're being told that we can make this $350 an hour and all that kind of stuff. That's great, but you have to work on that solid foundation to get to. You can absolutely make $350 an hour, but you got to build that foundation up to be able to have that. Look, going back to Scott's comment about 8 million in 3 years, right? Of course, he's got another business too, but all of that foundation work is what causes all of these things to happen, and you have to build that good, solid foundational base in order to make these things happen.
Actually, my daughter Brooke just bought a new Kia. I'm impressed with how freaking nice that car is over in the damn Kia costs more than a lot of Mercedes did 20 years ago too. I was kind of shocked. In the Immortal, and Doug, it's like this. It's called building a business, and it's called building a business for a reason. And the immortal words of one of the great philosophers of our time, Bon Scott from AC/DC. He said it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
I thought, but did you know? I don't mean to interrupt you. Fact here. This is a fact. You can fact check me all day long. This is a fact. That song was not written that way. It's
really?
A long way to the top if you want a pressure wash. That was the original thing because he was going broke, and he needed to find a way to make money.
But I've always said, I could have taken spray wash at any stage on spray wash after we were doing more than probably $300,000 a year, and taken a new guy and said, you know what, I'm out. See ya. Take my business. And unless you actually have taken a business and have worked it and run with it and built it, or you understand business and you understand the ins and outs of business, you would have failed miserably at that. And it's you have to understand the baby steps, and then the crawling steps, and then the walking, and then the running. And you have to understand why we don't use the 12 volts anymore, and we've gone to a different system. And you have to understand why every truck has an X-Jet in there, even though it hasn't even been out of the box yet, but every truck has an X-Jet in there. You have to understand why we're going to get partial sign-offs when we're doing this HOA project, and not wait until the end of the 125 units and say, okay, let's go walk around the neighborhood and see what you think. You understand that whenever you do a 10-unit apartment community, you don't wait until building number 10 to go to the manager and say, okay, let's do this. And there's lots of little things that, you could write a book, but it would be 1,000 pages long and you'd forget parts of it. But you know what? You get burnt a couple of times on there. You understand some of these life lessons really, really well.
And sometimes you've got to, if it's something that you just like, well, I'm just not that good at that. Again, I know that it's like a broken record sometimes, but you got to hire somebody to take those things that you're just not very good at to begin with.
Scott, you should also know what's in your area, carved out our market, new commercial areas, residential, manufacturing, commercial, and industrial, more than residential, and had less drama for us. Yeah, 100%, You need to know your numbers. You need to know what's out there. You want to be the largest solar panel cleaner. Does your area have many solar panels in there? I always had Bobby Walker. I've always had discussions with Bobby on here about, and Bobby's one of those never say never kind of guys out there. But I'm one, whenever the guy who's sitting there in Hogs Knuckle, Iowa, looking at that saying, oh, wow, I'm going to do $1 million in pressure washing a year. Because this guy on YouTube told me that I could do $1 million a year. Well, as a matter of fact, you're probably not going to. Bobby will tell you, well, yeah, you could, but it's just going to be a lot more difficult than it would be for he in Orlando, Florida, or me in Tallahassee, Florida, or you, right outside of Baton Rouge with 800,000 people in there, So the guy in Hogs Knuckle, Iowa only has 23,000 people in his town. And the next town over is 30, 45 minutes out, and they've got 16,000 people there. You really have to look at the demographics around you to understand, is this possible,
So one of the other things is look inside and outside of this industry is what I'm going to say. So if you see a mover and shaker in this industry, right? You see somebody in your area, outside your area, it doesn't matter. And their company is growing. Their company is doing things. Go and look and see what it is that they are doing. And it does not have to be in the pressure washing, soft washing, window cleaning, exterior cleaning arena, right? If they're doing, if it's a veterinary clinic and they just opened up and they're doing really, really well, okay, why? Is there anything that you can see that they're doing other than spending money, right? I mean, because you can just blast ads and blast ads. You're going to get the phone ring. Doesn't mean you're going to make money off of that. But find out what it is that they're doing. Oh, they went to this event or that event, or they did this or they did that. These are the things that they're doing. How well is their online presence? Are they going to these BNI meetings, or what is it that they're doing that you're noticing, right? And if you're noticing it and everybody else is noticing it, maybe start to try to mimic those types of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I want to know what the Juma file is. I think I know, but yeah.
The guy told me to start my crazy high. I didn't even bother. He went straight to Juma file.
Wash stones for the decorative stones 4 years before you're noticed, and then you picked us up and you made the paper doing that. Casey's talking about hook the buddy up, free wash in Fox Run, 0 leads from it. Yeah, people say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell everybody that Panhandle washed my house, man, dude. I'm gonna hook you." And everybody drives right by my house when they leave this neighborhood. And in fact, dude, I'm going to stand out and pass out flyers for every car that passes by that says Casey with Panhandle washed my house, man, and that you're the best. No, it just never they might even have the intention of doing that, but that really never happens.
One of the things that Ray and I never do is we never say we're going to guarantee you success. We're never going to guarantee this. Okay, I do have a guarantee for you. And that guarantee is if you have somebody that says, dude, if you do my house, I'm going to get every neighbor here to hire you. Or if you do my client's place, if you do this, I'm going to get all this business for you just by doing my place. I guarantee you they're blowing smoke right up your backside. Guarantee.
I want to see that, Stephen. I want to see what that is, I tell you, a great source of business. I still remember, when we sold my company, somebody actually said, to me, he's like, man, he goes, nobody's more depressed that you sold your company than I am. And I was like, why is that? He said, because you were literally my number one source of business, because we used to, and we split our business up amongst a lot of guys, but when we had overflow stuff, and he still has customers to this day that we referred to him, but go to busy people. I mean, we would get so busy in the springtime, we would be booked out for 6 weeks at a time, talk to guys. I mean, I see guys that are on here right now that are the same way. March and April, they're crazy busy.
Hey, Brenda, instead of doing it that way, put in BLTCH. Trust me.
That was 8 million straight washing Dougie, not the Powerade. Yeah,
that's not what I said. So quit twisting my words. I love Scott. Yeah. No.
And I mean that as no disrespect to Kia whatsoever. So if everybody has SEO, how does it work? Well, that's a good question, Michael. And that's,
and that's what keeping up with the SEO is about.
Yeah. And, and I hear nightmares about SEO and from some semi-reputable companies that are out there. Doug, you and I've talked to a couple of people, that have been to, I'm not going to mention the names, but they've gone and spent thousands upon thousands of dollars and the net result was, they tanked in the SEO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so you can pay somebody. So my viewpoint on SEO and SEO companies is a kind of a mixed bag. You got to know who it is that you're hiring and trust who it is that you're hiring.
And even the people that you hire might not be able to deliver because there's a lot of black magic that goes into it. There's a lot of it's what's Google's algorithm, for this few months. And
that's why I like that some of these SEO companies are coming out and being specialists in a field. Okay, they don't have to be pressure washers, but they are starting to specialize in that field. And let's just use the pressure washing field because they can start picking up on the algorithms, the jargon, the what it is that people are actually asking for. Because really, what is SEO, search engine optimization, right? But what does that really mean? It really means, what is it that somebody's looking for? Okay. It doesn't do you any good to have a pressure washing business that says, hey, we clean stuff, right? Nobody's doing a search for, hey, we clean stuff, right? You have to have something that people are actually searching for and want to search for. So, and then there's, again, you can look into Google and all that. They will tell you what the keywords are that are being searched for in your business. Mm-hmm. You can copy them. They'll give you the list.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I got to say this. Maybe, hey, Jennifer, let Michael watch. Come on. Don't be like that. So he's getting called away. So
he says I gotta go. I'll watch
Clearwater, I work on it weekly. One day it's gonna come out. One day. Doug, I gotta answer something here. Just talk for a second, read comments.
Gotcha. I'm gonna start off reading some comments. There was also some good questions in there that we haven't had a chance to get to. A lot of good comments tonight. It says, I started July 2021. I currently have 215 Google reviews. Just me and my wife. How do we get work? Do everything all the time, find what works best and do more of that? I'm not sure if that's a question there. I'm saying, how do we get work? But are you answering that saying, do everything all the time, find what works best and do more of that? Yes, that would be a very true statement. I'm not sure if that's a question there though. Let's see. Just like a realtor, I'll get the neighbor. Yeah, exactly. I'll get all the neighbors to hire you after full price now, then $50 off your next service if they do. And I'm going to go back to what we've said before in the past, where why give discounts to new clients? Why? Why not give discounts to old clients? And I think that that's something that, again, that people miss the boat on all the time. When I get that phone call and they're saying, man, I've been washing for 6 years and I don't have the business. How do I get it? Well, why not go back to all those old customers? Why not offer them a discount versus offering the new guy a discount? You got that revolving door. You always have to try to get new customers. Go back to the old customers. And that's why building the foundation is so important. Scott says, call a company in different market. You know what? So good side and bad side to calling companies in different markets. You got to make sure that you're talking same thing, same pricing, all that kind of stuff. But this is excellent advice. Call some companies in a different market. Get as much information as possible and see how you can apply it to your area. Just remember about pricing, and sometimes things are different. Try to call an area that's not too far away. Like I'm in Louisiana, so I don't necessarily want to call somebody in Washington State. We're dealing with a lot of different things there. Okay. He says you can never have enough information and ideas. For more instance, Dougie and Ray are successful in their areas. You can get different ideas from different areas and maybe something will work for you. You can even have enough. You can never have enough knowledge and ideas. And that is so true. But it's also a matter of what you do with that knowledge and ideas. We talked about this with the huge convention where people go there and they grab all this knowledge and they get all these ideas. And then when they get home, they don't do a damn thing with them, right? Yeah. You have to implement, you have to take away and say, okay, Scott's putting out some really good information, but there's so much information. Which pieces are the best pieces for me? And then roll with those instead of trying to do everything that Scott says. And Scott's got a big company. You're not keeping up with him no matter what. So don't even try. But
and he doesn't even watch anymore anyway. Why are we even listening to it? You guys spend more time listening to like old farts that don't wash anymore,
Yeah.
It's like we've always said, Doug, everything works, nothing doesn't. And I mean that exactly with a double entendre right there. Everything could work. There's some of the goofiest crap in the world out there that can work. Can rock flyers work? Yeah, they can. Is it something I would do? No, I don't, but Pat Clark, we were talking the other day, and whenever you look at it, you say you have a 1% return on something like that. So if you toss out 100 rock flyers and you get a 1% return on that, that means for every 100 that you toss out, you're getting one phone call on that.
Yeah.
Now, that's not saying you're closing that one. I mean,
Right.
now if you close,
It's even worse.
if you close 20%, 30% of the people you talk to, so now you're going up and up and up and up. I mean, and that's, whenever Pat ordered him, he ordered 20,000 to start with. He didn't
Mhm.
order 100 out there. I mean, and so many people wind up quitting before they actually ever put the time and the effort. Oh, well, that didn't work. Oh, how do you know it didn't work? Well, I tried it once. Well,
Yeah, one
what
time.
did
One
you
time
try?
is not enough.
What did you try? I went out and put door hangers out, and I got nothing from it. How many door hangers you put out? Well, I put out like 50. Okay. When did you put them out? I put them out the day before Thanksgiving.
Where
Okay.
did you put them?
Yeah, where did you put them out? I will never, ever forget. I used to walk around neighborhoods and I'd be like, oh, that house is clean. They're not going to need me. And I would exclusively hang my crap on dirty houses. And
Wrong idea.
I built my company on using door hangers. I mean, that was how I first started out. That, and I found some quality realtors to deal with. Guess what? I realized after about 6 or 7 months, because then I started changing and I went, these dirty house people aren't calling me.
They're dirty.
Wait a minute. The dirty house is right next to the clean house. So what's happening is that, and you get into this whole Facebook mentality of trying to get this technical crap figured out. And why does this house look so much worse? I mean, I wonder if that's a siding defect, or I wonder if there's something wrong with the soffit and fascia because it's just getting so much dirtier, and some of the stuff that you see on these forums, and it's like, oh my God, it was real simple. Why does one house get dirty and the other doesn't? Because the one that isn't dirty gets dirty too. They just clean it. And whenever I went and changed my mindset and said, screw these dirty houses, I'm going to go market clean houses, because clean houses are the ones that are actually getting their work done. And
look for people with clean cars, clean houses,
changed my life right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andrew, how are you doing? I have been thinking about you lately. I apologize. I know we've been incommunicado, and I think you called me just before I went to Australia, and I'm still playing catch up from Australia, but I hope you're doing well.
I know the answer is going to be yes, but Andrew, I hope you're going to be at the Huge, because it'd be good to see you again. I know the answer is going to be yes, and be repping the Agent Clean products and all that kind of fun stuff. So
best neutralizer in the world.
Yep. I like I said, I know he'll be there. What's funny is that I know that Ray and I have been accused of being paid by Andrew Snyder because we promote his products a lot, when we don't. We haven't. We've said it dozens of times.
Used him a lot.
We used him a lot. Yeah. I mean, guy has never even offered me a 5-gallon bucket of neutralizer. See how he is? God. Mm-hmm. And he knows I'm messing with him anyhow. But yeah, love Agent Clean products. And I know he's going to be there. It's just one of the things. But.
Hey, Jake, hope you're doing well. Let's see here. Here we go.
Let me touch back on something over real quick. The consistency part of it is what's going to be the important side. When you said before about, putting out the door hangers and the flyers and all that kind of stuff, or I did EDDM, it didn't work. And I get that a lot too, man. I've spent so much money. I went and I did an EDDM campaign. I did a Facebook boost. I did I put out a bunch of door hangers, and then I did this, and then I did that, and then I did this, and then I hired SEO, and man, none of that works. That's because you're not being consistent, and you're just flip-flopping all over the place. You're wasting your time, money, and effort. I would rather, I'm not a big EDDM fan. I think EDDM is better for a company that's established, right? If you're new, I don't think EDDM is the right thing to do. Yeah. I think EDDM is right for an established company. But I'll say this. If you're going to do it, you can't just do it one time and expect awesome results.
Exactly.
You have to keep doing that.
So much of of advertising and marketing is consistency. I mean, 100%. Why does could McDonald's never do another ad and us not know anybody watching this not know what McDonald's is?
Mhm.
or Macca's, as they call it in Australia.
Why do you think they come out with the McRib every now and then?
Yeah, it just it inspires, it brings it back up. It's
Yeah.
something to them to talk about, you know. Or we have a surplus of lips and assholes that we need to do something with. I mean, no, but I mean, it gives them something to market. It gives them an event to talk about. I mean,
Mhm.
this is the reason, you know. And so this EDDM, and I don't know which Facebook user that is, you know, probably, and that was 3 weeks ago. Probably in another 2-3 weeks, time to hit it again on there,
Yeah.
you know. And so that return on there, 8 of them, 15 calls, 8 in the books on there. So
That's
that would
good
be
because that's
7 per 1,000.
yeah. So if it's 2,000 mailers, that's likely only going to be depends on area, right?
Mhm.
But like in my area, 2,000 that might be I want to say 2 or 3 zip codes, depending, right? And so, you know, that's the thing. So a lot of that will depend on how many zip codes you're hitting and all that as well. And then are you hitting the right zip codes? Because EDDM is every door direct mail, which means every door gets it.
Everybody's getting it.
The nice thing about EDM too, though, is that you can turn off like so it doesn't go to commercial, or I think you can still turn it on to where it's only to commercial.
Right.
I'm not positive on that one anymore.
You know, Jim Bob did the thing about the clip flyers once, got it, but he found other ways of doing that. You know, love the clean houses. Daniel, I agree. I mean, you know, in going from my old you know, my old company, never spend money in August. So February and August were my 2 worst months residentially. February was the worst month across the board. August, we were always busy because we did so much stuff for apartments and for universities out here. And there was always something that they forgot where it was like, oh crap, you know, go wash the Westcott building. We forgot to get that done and back in June. So we always stayed really, really busy in August, but our residential was just in the tank, you know. And this is the month where kids are going back to school. Kids are having families are doing last bit of vacations. They're doing back to school shopping. Also, it's so hot. A lot of times here in the Southeast, nobody's even round, you know, they're not even going out in their backyards, you know.
Mhm.
If I'm walking around in my yard, it's either to feed the chickens or to go straight to the pool.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting in my pool. It is like 900 degrees.
Yep.
I mean, the other day I came home, I was out cutting grass, and I came home and I jumped in the pool, and I was like, I felt like I was going to die at the bottom of the pool.
Yeah. Picked route by income. Yeah, perfect. I mean, that's the way to do it. And Joseph's right. Most small businesses, they don't track what works when a customer.
We said that in the beginning, and we always say it. You got to track what you're doing and what's.
How did you hear about Acadiana Hydro Clean?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely.
My neck of the woods.
How'd you hear about spray wash? You
know, that's another thing too. It's funny if you're not asking that question. I mean, just how did you hear about us? That is a standard question that people expect to hear, even. And if you're not asking that question, I've got to ask you why not. I mean, that should be one of the first standard questions and there's also a way to do that. Like when you say, well, how'd you hear about our company? We'd like to thank whoever referred you to us, right?
Yep.
You know, and that even can spark something else in their mind, like you're going to thank them. Okay, so if I refer you, am I going to get thanked? And what does that thank look like?
Yeah, 100%, Doug. HOAs are good for August because they work on budgets in October. Yeah. I would not disagree with that. Speaking of that, Doug, if you wanted to learn more about HOAs, what would you do?
If I wanted to learn more about HOAs, I'd call me. No. So a huge convention coming up, right? The day pre-show classes, August 23rd, will be the HOA class. Actually, we start with the plant and property protection class, and then we move on to the HOA class. And it's going to be Ray, myself, and Bo Chiosetti, former PW&A president, that will be doing that class. And man, I think it's going to be. I'm excited to have the three of us together on doing that class. I think it's going to be an amazing class myself. And I don't think you can beat the value of it.
No, you can't. And this is something we were adding it up, and we've literally, between the three of our companies, we've done tens of thousands of doors in HOA, projects, and HOAs are unique. I mean, how do you find them?
I don't know who this is, but I know what the reference is about. I'll take it.
Three guys, one cup.
No,
we had. Gosh, Doug, I mean, people don't understand. I mean, and I hear bad information on HOAs all the time. Oh, I hear I'm going to go do the president's house for free. You go waste that money. Yeah. Because that's not it. I mean, you have to find who's managing these things. There's so much to think about on the HOAs. Water being one of them. Where do we get this water from? Honestly, I mean, I had a lady that, called the popo on us one time because the HOA president, and I was young into this. I mean, I just started, oh, no, you can use their water. Well, turns out that the HOA and this lady came out screaming about theft of services. And I was like, ma'am, the HOA manager told me to use these. She can't tell you to use my water. And the lady was 100% right. She was 100% right. And here I was, relatively new at this, just happy to have a big job. Oh, well, the HOA said to tie into everybody. No, as a matter of fact, no, I was stealing her water out there. So,
let's see.
Awesome, here. Curtis. I'm glad you're going to do that,
And Curtis, on that, I'll just tell you, Plant & Property is great. To me personally, obviously I'm trying to sell the classes, but do the all-in. I mean, to me, what you're going to learn there in the dollar price. I think that right now, Plant & Property is $325, and then but the all-in is $525 still. I think. Is that what it is right now? Let me go back and look. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It might have gone up.
Sure.
It's going up to $725. Yeah. So still, if you can, that's, to me, it is absolutely the best value that you get there. So, but be happy to see you there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Daniel, you're right. And you're going to deal with a property manager a lot differently than you're going to deal with a board out there. We got some little ways we can go find these people that we're going to talk about. Any insights for new business and the importance of client retention for future growth? Hard to grow if 100% of your clients are our new customers.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And, Ryan, that's one of the reasons that data is so important. This is one of the reasons that, think about this, guys. Why does Lowe's want your email receipt? Why does everybody want your email whenever you buy? Oh, no, let us email this to you. Save a tree. You don't need to print this out. Everybody wants your data for a reason.
Absolutely.
And these past customers.
Why is Facebook worth so much money?
Correct, because they know who you are. They know when you use the bathroom. Yep. They know your habits. They know what you search for. They know your kinks.
They want you back for more.
Literally, and they want to sell that to advertisers. That's why, we can be talking on here, and I'll probably have ads tonight on my phone for different, CRMs out here, and probably for pressure washers. They want you back, and they want to be able to market you. So for new business, one of the biggest things is treat your new customers or your customers that you're getting like gold, and you would never, ever, ever want to do a house one time unless that person's a complete jerk.
Yeah.
And Tanya and I are and I haven't even, one of the reasons I've kind of been off of Facebook lately, and I apologize for anybody that's reached out to me on Facebook, but been taking a social media break. No daily statuses, and I know I've killed like a lot of people's lives, and by not doing that,
ruined it by getting up in the morning and having to use the restroom without an update.
It's hilarious. I can't tell you the hundreds of people that actually really and truly do, and I'm being serious about this. Going, I literally start my day off by looking at your post. Your posts are amazing. Well, ever since I've gotten back from Australia, I got out of the habit of doing that, and I've kind of enjoyed not being in this Facebook drama for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But again, with this new business that Tanya just purchased, Tanya and I purchased, but it's primarily Tanya's. So I was just telling her, I said, hon, I guarantee you that every event, and I'm going to announce this on Facebook here real soon. I think y'all will be quite amazed at something we're doing. But every one of these events that you book is just going to be something that you just put in the calendar again, because I know you, I know how you follow up with people. And I'm pretty much assuming that if you do this gig, you're going to get that gig over and over and over and over again, multiple times. It's going to be an annual or every 6 months or quarterly event, because I mean, it very well probably will be, because that's how she is, and she's good enough about always following up and always keeping these people as customers. Because if you do a customer one time, you suck. And somebody had mentioned it here earlier that I think it may have been Michael. You don't have the cost of customer acquisition, and these are one of these benchmarks that whenever you go with some of the bigger coaching, they talk about your CAC, your customer acquisition cost. Well, how would you like it if your customer acquisition cost was, for these, I mean, and nothing ever really costs that, but still, the easiest person to sell to is somebody that already loves you and somebody you've already done work for.
So I want to talk about this one here that Daniel has said, and how dare Daniel know his numbers, right? This is so super important about knowing your numbers. And I think Daniel's nailing it right here. Emailing previous customers only brings 4 to 5%. He's giving you a very specific number. For him, emailing previous customers only brings 4 to 5%. I've learned to email and then catch up with each one. We only reach out to customers who have 18 months with no invoice. You will get a 9 to 12% return on previous customers if you call them. Okay. He knows his numbers, and he's tried, without knowing, he's tried different things and tracked. That's because that's key. Tracking what you're doing to know what's working and where it's working at. Here it is, 4 to 5% or 9 to 12%. Which one do I want a better return on? Right. I will throw in nowadays, I think you can do the whole thing where they can opt in for emails and opt in for text messages. I'm not really a texting guy, but I think a lot of the newer crowd, if you would, texting is also a way to reach out to them. I'd love to know numbers. Daniel, have you ever tried that? And do you have any numbers on that? Because if you do, I'd love to see them.
Well, one of the things that we always did, Doug, was whenever we get down, all right, my ops will be following up. You'll be getting emails from us. And by the way, we will be reaching out to reschedule, typically speaking, I know you want the house to stay looking as good as it does right now. So we'll be rescheduling with you in about 10 months or so, and get you on the schedule for your annual house wash at that point. And so literally from the minute they become our customer, we're working on them. And guess what? Some customers, I've never washed so many clean houses as I did at Spray Washing.
I can't tell you how many clean houses we wash. Absolutely.
Quarterly, every 6 months, and so many go, oh, I'm not going to do that. What if the customer wants it? Do it out there, Ryan, and I want to talk about Ryan right here. Every other month, send out a newsletter to everyone in our database. 100%, and I've talked to guys about this. Well, what would I email them about? I don't care. Do a home improvement.
It can't be about sales, though. It can't always be.
Not about, hey, we want to wash your house again, but do something about landscaping. In fact, go partner up with a landscaper in your town and have them write something to put in there, because the two go to, let's talk about, care tips for our ligustrum hedges, or put something on there about Sherwin-Williams paint, or does Jenkins brick have a well, Ray, the house isn't brick. I mean, their house was stucco, but some of those houses are brick in there, and their home improved Pella windows. Go and cite the article, so you're not just copying and put a link out to the Pella site. Engage these people. You're now becoming a source of information for them.
And you engage them with anything and everything, right? I mean, is it time to prune your roses? Is it time to, get your garbage can changed out or whatever it is? It doesn't matter, right? You want to keep them educated and informed and not just be a sales thing every single time. They don't want that, right? They already know who you are, right? If we send out a newsletter and that newsletter is from Cajun Soft Wash, they already know what we do. Okay.
Yep.
Now we can educate them on some new things. Cajun Soft Wash just bought a drone not too long ago. So putting that out, hey, Cajun Soft Wash bought a drone. Did you know that? Those kinds of things are good, but blasting them all the time with just sales stuff. No, throw in that baseball season is coming up. Have you got your tickets? Whatever it is,
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Anything. Send them a link to the ARMA website that says, hey, did you know there's actually the Asphalt Roofing Manufacturers Association actually has a specific guidelines for cleaning your roof that we've always adhered to. Here's what they say out there.
I want to go back to Ryan's comment because I'm going to disagree with you, Ryan. I agree with you. Okay. You know how I am. But every month we send out the newsletter to everyone in our database. We schedule 3 to 10 jobs, and the email blast costs us nothing. It does. It costs you your time. And this is what we were talking about before. I know that you know that, and I know that I'm making light of that kind of a thing. But this is what we were talking about, where are you making that $300 an hour pressure washing myth, right? Because there are other things that you have to do to make that $300. And this is one of them. Sending out that newsletter can help you capture that $300 an hour. He's not making money while he's writing or typing out that letter. So it does cost him something, but it's his time that he's investing to make that $300 an hour later on. Sorry,
I mean, the worst person to ever wash a job was me. I mean, I had guys that washed for $25, $30 an hour. I mean, that was the worst. I mean, my time was much better spent, administratively on there. Now, Dan, good, you saw that comment.
Daniel, I was asking if you've tried and tracked texting with customers. It's something that I think is going to be something that should be done nowadays. I mean, I think you need to do all of the opt-in stuff, but I think that's going to be one of those things that should be added to the list of things that you do, as long as the customer wants to receive it. And if you're sending them daily texts or something, you're just being stupid. I don't even think it should be weekly. I think that goes back to that whole newsletter kind of a thing. Maybe every couple of months you send them just a random text. Hey, did you know about this or know about that or whatever? Make it something about, the area, that kind of a thing. If there's an Amber Alert, maybe you do the Amber Alert kind of, you share that out via text, and something to that nature. I'm not.
And on this, like what Daniel's saying about the real, and if you join the Board of Realtors as an affiliate member in your area, you'll probably have a lot of access to this data out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Ryan, nobody respect ARMA's cleaning guidelines. It's actually sad. And, most customers don't understand there are guidelines out there. And
most of them don't know that there are the guidelines.
There are guidelines. And so whenever you do that, and then somebody's talking to them about roof cleaning or talking to them, now all of a sudden they ask them, well, what about the ARMA? And the guy goes, what's ARMA? Okay.
Is that a branch of the military?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost Army.
Yep.
So,
there's chat. Look at that. Fact is, 80% of 90% of texts are looked at. Yeah, and there's more and more text marketing out there. In fact, I got a couple texts today from somebody that I thought was reprehensible, and I damn well looked at it because, yeah.
I'm going to go to this other question that we got there. Mike is asking, how often is too often to email blast past customers? I do it quarterly.
Monthly is what you should do.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think if even monthly is too much, if it's always a sales thing, right? If you're always emailing me with sales stuff, I don't want it anymore. If you're emailing me with stuff that I might want to look at, listen to, or whatever, then so monthly, I think, is the right thing. If you have a monthly newsletter that you send out, that's a good thing, even quarterly or whatever. But I think if anything over quarterly is not enough, I think quarterly is okay. But I think monthly, if you do a newsletter monthly, is a good thing, as long as, again, it's not spammy, fishy, always salesy, that kind of thing. As long as it's good information and you're consistent about doing it. The people that don't want them are going to opt out of your emails. That's what they're going to do, right? Or they're going to skip over it. Here's a fun fact for me. I receive several emails from things that I've subscribed to, if you will. And the email comes through and I'm like, I don't want to read that this month. I don't want to look at that. I don't want to, and I'll click on it and I'll just delete it without even looking at it and even reading it. Guess what? Subliminally, they still got me.
Yeah.
So even if they delete, that's okay. As long as they're not unsubscribing. If you're getting a bunch of people that are unsubscribing, you're either doing it too much, it's not relevant, it's just coming off too spammy, if you would.
I agree.
Doug, 14 minutes, Ray.
I know we got to wrap, because I know we still got a couple little things to talk about. Great. We'll continue this on next week. Yeah, painters, hook up with painters. I love painting houses, but hate washing them. I always found with painters, Daniel, that it's a great gauge of the economy out there. Whenever things are going well, painters would refer the business out because they like to just paint out there. When stuff got tight, when things would restrict in the market, I would call my painters and we did, 5 or 6, paint preps a month at Spray Wash. And hey, what's going on, Ed? It's not as busy, and we're just doing it more ourselves these days. Like, I got you out there. So, yeah, absolutely.
So, and that I was going to say what this person just said, painters wash, and that can be true. And it's one of the things that I know I've heard a lot is that I don't want to refer to a painter because they're going to eventually learn how to do what I do or see the numbers that I make, and then they're going to want to take my business. That's looking over your shoulder. I mean, yep. Michael Phelps it. Just stay in your lane and just go. Screw all that. Don't worry about what's behind you, around you, whatever. Just stay in your lane and go.
Yep. Well, Doug, everybody, thank y'all for watching. Been a great show tonight. Fantastic. Thank y'all all. Mike, look forward to seeing you at the Huge. Hope you're there. Hey, wash on, guys.
Wash on, y'all.
Remember, if y'all are thinking about signing up for the pre-show classes, the HOA and Plant and Property right there, spraywashacademy.com. We'll get you hooked up. Doug?
Peace, y'all. See you next week.
See y'all.